Action Comics 1045, Philip K. Johnson writing with Brent Peoples and Will Conrad on the art. So we have two artists, and there is kind of an awkward transition between them whenever it does swap, because they are very different. Obviously, it not being Federici is a bit of a shame. That's what you were always hoping for. So this issue, the plot in this fight between Mongol and Superman and everyone else is really underway, and very early on it sets up that Mongol's got, Omak, it's got a corrupted version of Light Ray and Apollo.
And
that's
Apollo, yeah. The unmade versions of them. Yeah, so
they're all fighting on behalf of Mongol and wiping the floor with a bunch of the war zones, and it's just creating a lot of turmoil. And this issue, I think, really kind of sums up into the formation of three different plots that they're kind of like, because they're debating what they should do next, and they agree that they should split up and do all of them. So one of them is that they're going to, it's Natasha, along with Orphan, are going to repurpose one of the Red Sun like sort of engines that are on the war world. Based on, and this is actually like this is more elaborated on the backup, but we get more backstory for it.
I love that. Yeah, I did love that. So,
but it's basically they can convert it to effectively a yellow sun. They don't say yellow sun, but that's what it sounds like.
So what they realize is that the Genesis energy, the radiation, will make the Philosians and Superman. It messes with them. So what they can do is they can reverse the engine and then focus that Genesis energy, and it's like a yellow sun. And it can give them basically all the strengths without any of the radiation. And then once they can do that, they'll have Superman and an army of other Supermen.
Yeah, the Philosians all have powers potentially as well.
And, hopefully they'll be able to stand guard against Mongol.
So
because and again, it's not about defeating Mongol, right? It's about making a statement.
Yeah. So you got Midnighter, Manchester Black, and some of the others are going to go and try and like revert the other teammates who have been turned and corrupted and unmade, and try and figure out a way to bring them back. So that's their mission. And then Superman's going to go with Kurlux, the Philosian dude, to go and try and deal with the Olgrun like myth that's in the necropolis, right?
The fire of Olgrun.
Yeah. So they're going to go and try and deal with that, because that's what Mongol's looking for. Mongol wants that because it'll basically turn him into a god, and they can't let that happen. So Superman agrees to go and try and find it, not because he really wants it for himself, but just to keep it away from Mongol more than anything. So that sets up these sort of three key goals. So this is like proper, like it does kind of feel like we're building up to the end game of this now, and it's like this is everything's going down, and when we see some of this stuff play out, some of the visuals, like they are as unfortunately quite stilty because it's swapping back and forth, and one of the artists in particular, and probably Will Conrad's a bit too clean and feels a lot more house style compared to anything that Federici does. Not that Peoples feels like Federici either, but he does feel a bit more distinct though. At least
there's a painted quality like Federici has that Peoples has too, and then so when you put that with the Will Conrad, which is still decent art, but just against those they don't mesh.
It's very different. It feels very different. There's some nice scenes though, because a couple of the Philosian kids like come with Superman and Karlux, because there's really nowhere safe to go, so at least they'll feel better if they're with Superman. And there's this little sweet moment where they ask if they can go back to Earth with Superman, and he's like, well, would you want that, or would you want to go back with him to like New Pholosia and grow up there? And he kind of says, like, one day you'll wear your own family emblem, but, you can wear mine for as long as you want to. It's just
that was another Philip Kennedy Johnson, just understanding Superman at a core level.
Oh, sure.
Because that line really moved me. Him going, until you have your own, and he calls them by their full names. You can wear my symbol until you come up, with your own family. And I was just like, oh, man, there's Superman just being inspirational again. Not even trying. But
yeah. Obviously, when Natasha and Orphan go to the Red Sun engine, one of Mongol's cronies shows up and tries to stop them. Yeah. So
the teacher shows up, darling.
It's setting up these plot threads that they're going to pick up next issue. Superman and Co find the door to the Fire of Volgron, and it turns out to be Byla that's in there. And yeah, like, this idea that, like, like, he's protecting this thing to until someone who is worthy of it, someone who'll restore what Olgrun is, rather than just use it for corrupt reasons. And Superman says, I have no interest in doing anything with it. I'm just here to, like, finish what I started, which is to help the people who are here. Which, of course, sounds like, oh, that will restore the name of Olgrun and all that stuff. So he probably is perfect to wield it. So it's a nice little speech moment from Superman. I will say this though, like, well, this is the sort of thing where Byla, like, I really had to think about who this was, because
I was gonna say, Pete, do you remember who this was? Because I remember the name, but I could not for the life of me remember them popping up.
So I think this is from earlier in the run.
Yeah.
Is this the guy who was telling, like, stories early on?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first, he took the form of a Phalosian slave and storyteller. So that was from the Action Comics annual from last year.
Cool. So it's a neat callback. I do kind of wonder if, like, a little editor's box just to remind us who that was, mate.
Yeah, because I was like,
I
know this face and I know the name, but for whatever reason, so I had to look it up, and yeah, it was. But I do like the fact that the whole storyteller is an emissary of the old god, right? And that it's looking for, he's there to stand guard so this power doesn't get misused, right?
Yeah.
Or it gets used properly. And what does that mean? But yeah.
Yeah, so the exact wording he uses is, my task was to repel all those who would follow in Olgrun's path and to aid the one who would redeem him. So yeah, like, the idea is Superman will be the one who does that, probably.
Right.
So yeah, so the cliffhangers is basically like, okay, right, you're going to have to prove yourself worthy, and it's like, here's a giant monster to fight, basically.
Yeah.
That's the end of the issue. This is kind of a frustrating issue in a way, because I like all the various plot things going on and everything that it's kind of ramping up to get to the ending. But I think Byla not being instantly recognizable to me, mixed with the fact that the art's jumping back and forth, did make it a bit of a more mixed bag than it should have been.
Yeah.
As far as the main story goes, anyway. So, but yeah, so next time, the Trials of Olgrun, and we'll see Superman proving himself worthy of the power of it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing that pops up too, is that they mentioned that if Superman beats Mongol, he becomes a Mongol, right? Because that's how that system works. So it's this tricky thing that they can't necessarily beat Mongol that way. They have to just completely not make a fool of him. What's the word I'm looking for? They have to make it look like he can't lead, but that they have to. It's a trick to where they have to want to lead themselves, which is like, again, you look at Philip Kennedy Johnson and the kind of story he's trying to tell about freedom and and corrupt societies and whatnot. But I really did like that.
Yeah. The backup though is Steel with Lois. This is their communication with Natasha, and this is obviously set a little bit before the conversation earlier in the issue, where they came up with this plan and how to convert the suns using the Genesis energy. They find that it's actually saving the Phalosian they've got in the tank. It's actually healing her more than the sun ever would. So that's all fine and well, but then something breaks their communications, and then the villain that was set up last issue, Conduit, shows up on behalf of one Amanda Waller, because they should not have the Genesis fragment. So he steals that. There's a bit of a fight. I did like the moment where like Conduit calls like Superman's family like a family of freaks, like that husband and that horrible son of yours, and she just grabs like one of Steel's biggest guns and just like fires at him.
Yeah, she goes, "This one have a good kick." Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but he does get away. So the end of the story here is that, well, we can't really take him on one by one because he is quite strong. So she calls on John, Kara, Connor, and Keenan to come help. So we're getting all the super family coming in.
That was this. This might be tip of my hand, but this moment made me so happy. when Conduit brought up the family of freaks and whatnot, and then Lois sends out the help, and we get John and we get Connor and Kara, but Keenan we haven't seen in a while, right? Like, so the fact that we get Keenan too, it felt like a really great moment. Because we talk about the Bat family a lot, but the Super family is pretty deep too. So the fact that Lois can call and Steel, for that matter, can call on these people and they're gonna, help get this Genesis fragment back is real fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Connor with his stupid sunglasses and haircut.
I hate that look so much. And I know you're not a fan of the jeans and the t-shirt, but I take the jeans and the t-shirt to the stupid high fade sunglasses and leather jacket. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just not a fan.
That cracks me up a little bit. The art in the backup is it's a little it's fine. Like, it's not bad art by any means.
No, I liked it. The composition I think is really good. I had one kind of problem is there's a scene where you can see Steel's reflection in Conduit's helmet, but it makes it look like Steel's saying Conduit sign and Conduit saying Steel's, and that was really only my problem with that.
Oh sure, yeah, I can see that.
Because I get what they're going for in the shot. Like, it's a cool looking shot. Just maybe the letterer didn't have a good spot to try to fix that. But
yeah, because basically Conduit's offended that they refer to the alien as a woman. He's like, no, it's Annette, and goes all bigoted about it. Yeah, it's just a little bit flat. I don't know if it might actually be more the coloring and than it is the actual line work. Yeah, that I'm not as hot on. But so like I say, the issue overall is a bit of a mixed bag in art, unfortunately. So hey, what are you giving Action Comics 1045?
I'm giving the main story an 8 and the backup an 8.5. So we'll put that about an 8.
Okay. Main story, I'm going to go a 7. I just think the art's a bit too inconsistent to go any higher than that, even though I do like where the story's going. And backup, probably another 7. Like, I think both parts are solid enough, but it doesn't reach the heights of other Action Comics issues in the run just because the art's less consistent and because just the feeling of messiness that gave me. But still, though, excited for where we're ramping up now in the end of the run and seeing where it goes. So and the big glorious return that Clark's going to have to Earth in a few months' time, which they're now teasing heavily.
And the fact too that he that when they flip the radiation on the Genesis fragment, that it heals. So whatever he's sick with too. Oh sure, yeah. Right, that should heal. I mean, even if he comes back with the white temples, which I think is a fine look for an older Superman. Just knowing that I could see that being an unintended effect when they flip the engine on Warworld. Yeah, it'll heal whatever was wrong with him. Yeah.